In the other sessions, I'm the admissions officer for the business school. Tonight, Professor O'Rourke is going to be presenting. She's going to talk to you about the accounting major. We have 2 current students joining us, James and Barbie, so they're going to let you in on their RBS and their RU experience and everything that there is to know about the exciting world of accounting. We also have Matthew Pyrick, who is an RBS alum of the accounting program and now works with us in the undergraduate office. So we're going to be moderating the chat box as the professor goes through her presentations. So you guys can put your questions in the chat box. At the conclusion, we'll have about 20 minutes or so where we can have you guys unmute yourself, share your video if you wanted, ask some questions. This is the time. I know that we're kind of T-minus 2 or 3 weeks to decision day. We want you guys to hit that button, even though I'm not supposed to say that, but I've been recorded on every session saying it. But we know that you guys need a lot of information. This is the time to get the answers to those questions. So without further ado, Professor O'Rourke, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for the accounting session. I'm so excited to be here tonight to share information with all of you. So I have a brief presentation. I'll introduce the students that I have with me. And the idea is that we'll just talk a little bit about accounting. I like to start by talking about career options. So say you pursue accounting as a major, what are some of the career options available to you? We talk a little bit about the classes that you would take while you're here. You know, if you do decide to major in accounting, what do the classes look like? How do I start? What are the business core? What are the classes for the accounting major? And then we'll talk about a few other things specific to the profession. So we'll talk a bit about the CPA license, just because that's something a lot of accounting students pursue. And then we'll talk about organizations here at Rutgers. So what accounting organizations are there? What are some of the main ones? What are ways to get involved? And then we'll just open it up for questions at the end. So let me share my screen here. Okay. All right. So again, I know Christine already introduced some of us. Just to give you a bit of background about myself, I went to Rutgers. I graduated back in 2003. I've been here teaching at Rutgers now for about 12 years. I worked in the accounting profession, both public and private, for about 7 years before I started teaching here part-time. So I taught here part-time for a long time. I was, kind of home with my kids and working part-time. I have 3 little boys, not so little, but they're 10, 7, and 4. They're all in elementary school. So I've been here for about 12 years. I'm full-time now. I'm a licensed CPA. I love teaching here at Rutgers. I feel very lucky to be here. So that's just a bit about me. And then I have 2 students here tonight to help answer questions as well. So I have Barbie Patel. She's an accounting major. She's a senior. I currently have her in my advanced accounting class. So both Barbie and James are great students. She's the Beta Alpha Psi Community Service Director. She's also a member of Beta Gamma Sigma, and she's a TA here in our accounting department. So she tutors for our managerial and cost accounting classes. And then I have James. He's an accounting major. He's a sophomore. I've had him in both my intro to financial and managerial accounting classes, also a fantastic student. And he's here to talk a bit about the Rutgers Accounting Association. He's an executive board member. So we'll get to that a little bit later in the presentation. And I don't know why I have this slide in here. I always feel good putting it in here. I think we all know how to behave on Zoom at this point, but stay muted. It's helpful. Feel free to send in questions as we go. Sometimes it's just easier to ask while we're on the topic, and then obviously we'll save some time at the end where you can, we can have a discussion, ask questions, whatever what you want to discuss. So with that, so let's talk. So I like to always start with career. So if you're wondering what you could do with an accounting major, and you'll get lots of advice along the way, I always like to just throw my 2 cents in there. The accounting major offers a lot of opportunities. There's many different paths you can pursue, and that's always been my favorite thing about it, is just I feel that there's so much you can do with it. At the end of the day, though, when you're deciding on a major or a career path, think about what you would enjoy. I mean, that's really the best advice I have to give you. You hear all different things, what this person is doing or that person. You have to think about things like, financially, will I be able to support myself, and hours and work-life balance? And at the end of the day, you're going to spend some time at the place that you work. So you want to make sure that it's something that you like. So, that's my 2 cents. So is accounting a good fit for you? So let's talk about some of the things you could potentially do with an accounting major. So I start with public accounting because this is something that many accounting students will begin in this field. What does public accounting mean? The reason why many students start here is because if you're planning to get your CPA license, that's a certified public accountant, which we'll talk about a bit later, you need a little bit of public accounting experience. So this is where you work for an accounting firm and you provide services to clients. So you're not really working in the accounting department of a company. You're providing either audit, tax, consulting services to all different clients throughout the year. And if you're interested in accounting, you may have heard of the big 4 firms. Many students look to start here. It's a great opportunity. So you have Deloitte, EY, KPMG, and PwC. So the big 4 firms are great. They have big clients. You get exposure to the large clients. You get to see a lot of different interesting clients, accounting issues, things of that nature. So I start with this because many students begin here. You need a little bit about a year of public accounting experience to get your CPA license. Now, this is not for everyone, public accounting. So it's certainly not the only career path. And I always like to point out, so it's not just big firms. And this is true, whether we're talking about public accounting, private accounting, governmental accounting, you have different size companies. So there's big firms and small firms. It's a different experience. One is not really better or worse than the other. It's just different. So same thing, you have to decide what you would enjoy. There's the prestige and the excitement of a big firm. And I think that's a really awesome place to start. But if that doesn't seem quite right for you, don't hesitate to explore the small firm option. I worked for a medium-sized firm. I always give a shout out to Wilkin Guttenplan. That's the place I started and worked for about 4 years. It's just a different environment. It's smaller clients. You get to see different types of businesses. At a big firm, you're working on maybe a part of a much larger audit. At a small firm, the clients are smaller. You don't see the same types of clients, but at the same time, you might be running your own audits or have your own tax clients 2 or 3 years in. So it's just something to consider. What type of environment do you like? Would you like to travel around the country to different clients? Would you be more comfortable staying regional? It's a different answer for everybody. But again, I would consider not just the bigger firms, but the smaller firms as well, because they have a lot to offer. So that's public. So now we move on to private or industry accounting. And this means actually working in the accounting department of a company. And as I said, one of the things I love about accounting is there's a lot you can do with it. And so you think about all the different types of companies out there. You think about the small restaurant, the big pharmaceutical company, a medium-sized software development firm. They all need accountants. They all have an accounting department. They have books and records. They have financial transactions. Everybody needs an accountant. So you can work in any number of different industries. You can work, again, small company, large company, big accounting department. You're the only accountant at the small firm. There's all different types of opportunities, but there's a lot of demand. So you think about all these different industries and they all need accountants, just like everybody needs tax and audit services. Each company needs someone to do its own record keeping. So this is another option, and this is different. So this is you actually work for that company in their accounting department, recording their transactions, preparing their financials, budget versus actual analysis. Sometimes it involves revenue and expense forecasts. When I worked in accounting, this was my favorite type of job. I stayed in public for about 4 years and I learned a lot, but I knew it wasn't for me in the long run. And I went and I worked in the accounting department of a software company and I loved it. So again, it doesn't mean that's the right fit for someone else, but for me, that was what I really enjoyed. And the thing I loved about it is when I decided to kind of change career paths, I really didn't have any trouble making that switch because there was a lot of opportunity out there. So this is something else to consider. And then from here, I like to talk a little bit about internal audit. So this is it's like a mix of the public accounting and the private. So this is where you work for a specific company in their internal audit department. So you're not servicing external clients, but rather larger companies have what's called internal audit. So you're not the accounting department. You're not doing the accounting work, but rather you are checking up on, you are auditing the work of the accounting department, but you work for that specific company. So that is your job throughout the year. You look at the accounting records on a test basis, you analyze certain things, you ask questions of the accounting department, and that's what you do all throughout the year. You help to prepare for the external audit, and it's a nice mix because you're at the same company all the time. You're an employee of that company, but it's a little bit, it's not the accounting work like the recording part. This is a little bit of audit work. So I always like to think it's kind of a nice blend of the two. And it can involve travel sometimes if you go to different company locations. Same thing, larger companies tend to have internal audit departments. There's also a needed medium-sized companies. So just another potential career path to consider. And then from there, so we talked a lot about corporate accounting and public companies and big firm versus small firm. State and local governments have accounting departments too. So it's not just corporations and businesses, but you figure, your town, the state of New Jersey, they have books and records. They have financial statements that need to be prepared. So governmental accounting is another really interesting field. And the accounting is a bit different. So governments, they don't have a profit motive. So the financial statements look a little bit different. But this is something else that you could consider. Maybe not always right out of school. Again, these are all things you could pursue either right out of school. You start in one path, a few years down the line, you change over to something else. But that's what I've always loved about accounting is there are many different career paths. So you start in one place, you might love it, you might not. There's always something else you could do. And then other options include, I got a lot of questions about forensic accounting in recent years. A lot of people seem interested in that field. So basically using accounting, but for court proceedings. So it's involved in litigation. So forensic or investigative accounting. We think of the FBI and using accounting information to help solve crimes. Sometimes forensic accounting is something like, divorce accounting, because that's litigation as well. So there are firms that specialize in those types of areas, and that can be a pretty fascinating field. You also have the Internal Revenue Service. So that's on the other side of tax, right? Where you're looking at tax returns, you work for the government. There's all different types of options. And these are kind of the major ones, but there's many, many different things you can do. So I point out some of the major, again, you have public, private, you have internal audit, governmental, you have the option of a large company, which offers certain benefits, and then the smaller firm atmosphere, which has different types of benefits. So lots of things to consider. And before we go on, so, we talked a bit about careers. Again, feel free to send a question in at any time if you have them. What I like to do now is, we've talked a bit about careers. So let's say you pursue an accounting major. What are the classes you would take to prepare for this career in accounting? So we'll go through those. So before you declare your major in the business school, you take your pre-business courses. There are 19 credits here. So, and one of these is your Introduction to Financial Accounting course. So this is basically the first accounting class that you would take, and everyone takes this as basically before they come into the business school. You also have some economics, calculus, statistics, and a computer class. So again, these are your pre-business. This is before coming into the business school. These are the classes that you would take. So again, if you're pursuing accounting, that's your introductory accounting class. That's basically where you would learn financial statements, basic transactions. And then from there, once you're in the business school, you have your required core business courses. And so another accounting class we have, and this is something that Barbie tutors, is the Introduction to Managerial Accounting. So that's a different focus than financial accounting. Financial accounting is, looking at external reporting and financial statements and how companies have to kind of report things to the public, where managerial is all internal. It's all understanding what it costs to make something and different types of internal decision making. So it's an accounting class, but it's a different focus. And then from here, you have your other general business courses. So we have all different types. You have business forum, business law. There are different management classes that you take, 35 credits in total. So you have business policy and strategy. You have another statistics class, again, operations management, marketing, supply chains. You get a little bit of everything, right? It's a little bit of everything from the different majors in the business school. So again, these are business core classes. Pretty much everyone in the business school would take these. So it's not just accounting majors, but these are your business electives. And then from here, these are the accounting classes. So again, if you pursue an accounting major, these would be the courses specific to your major. So once you take intro to financial accounting, from there it's intermediate accounting. There's 2 intermediate accounting classes. We have intermediate 1 and 2. We have an accounting information systems course, cost accounting, which is a continuation of managerial accounting. We have auditing, income tax. You see a little bit of audit, a little bit of tax. When you go into public accounting, you get, a little bit of both of those areas. Advanced accounting, which is like a continuation of, we have intro, then there's 2 intermediate, and then finally advanced, your more advanced accounting topics. Audit analytics. These are all the required classes. So you wind up with 30 accounting credits total. And then finally, topics in income taxation, which isn't required. That's a corporate tax class, but it's a recommended elective. So the basic income tax accounting, that's the individual income tax, and then topics in income taxation, that's the corporate tax. So again, it's an elective that you could potentially take. So these are your accounting classes. And then from here, so I like to touch on the CPA. You may or may not be familiar, but it's something that's good to be aware of as you're heading into the accounting major. So this is it's a desired credential, the CPA. It's a certified public accountant. And typically to work in public accounting, you would need, if you plan to move up within a public accounting firm, you need your CPA license. And it's not just for public, it's really desired in other fields of accounting as well. So if you're planning to become a CPA, and again, this is just something it's good to know going into the accounting major, the expectation and what you need to do if this is something you want to pursue. Now, do you have to have a CPA? You don't. There are many fields, like if you go into corporate accounting or governmental, you don't necessarily have to have the CPA, but it certainly never hurts either. So it's something to be aware of as you come into the accounting major, just so you can plan your classes out appropriately. So to become a CPA, and again, I talk about New Jersey first because Rutgers is in New Jersey. The requirements vary by state. So if you were planning to become licensed in a different state, you would want to check that state. So I mean, we'll talk a bit about New York, but every state is a bit different. They have a lot of similarities, but you always want to make sure you look at the requirements for the particular state where you plan to become licensed. So to sit for the exam, the CPA exam in New Jersey, it's a 4-part exam. You need a bachelor's degree. So you can take the exam with 120 credits, basically a 4-year college degree. Also included in that degree, you have to have 24 hours in accounting and 24 hours in business. So those business core classes we talked about, they would easily meet that requirement. And the accounting classes on the previous slide, those accounting classes, that would more than cover your 24 hours in accounting. You also need work experience. So, and we'll talk about that a bit on the next slide. So you have to pass the exam, you need the bachelor's degree, and you need a year of work experience. Now notice that the 4-year degree and the 120 credits, that's to sit for the exam itself. So to actually become licensed as a CPA in New Jersey, you need 150 hours. So it's kind of an interesting requirement. You don't have to get a master's. Those extra 30 credits to 150, they don't necessarily have to be business or accounting credits. They could pretty much be in anything, but you do have to have the credit. So to take the exam in New Jersey is 120 credits. It's in the form of a bachelor's degree, but to become licensed, you need 150. So it's just, again, it's early, just starting school. Do you need to think about it? Not quite yet, but a little bit, because it helps to kind of plan out, well, how will I get the 150? If becoming a CPA is something I'd like to do, what is my plan for the 150? And there's different options. We see all different things. Some students double major and they graduate with 150 credits. Other students pursue a master's degree. So they stay for a 5th year of school and they earn a master's in, a particular area. That's personally what I did. The 150 rule went into effect when I was a junior in college, so I didn't really know about it too early to plan for it. It was very new back then. So I graduated with my 4-year degree, and then I went on to do a master's in professional accounting, which I've never regretted that decision because I always felt like, look, if I'm going to do an extra 30 credits, I may as well turn it into a degree. But there are lots of different options. Again, some people double major and they do it that way. They get the extra credits done. Sometimes 4 years is a lot, sometimes 4.5. Everybody's different, but it's good just to have that in the back of your mind and think about, well, what's my plan for the CPA? Knowing that you need the 150 credits, how would you plan to accomplish that? So that's the education. And the exam itself, there's 4 sections. You have audit and attestation, financial accounting and reporting, regulation and business environment and concepts. Now, mind you, the exam is changing. So these sections, in 2024, there's going to be some significant changes to the exam. So for people coming into school now, it'll probably be a bit different when you take it, but still, same basic idea. So there'll be 4 sections that you have to pass. You take them basically 1 section at a time. It's difficult to pass the exam, but it's doable. I always say it's a matter of putting in the time. So that's the exam, which you have to pass. And then you need 1 year of work experience, basically under a licensed CPA. So typically people go the public accounting route because that's where you find the licensed CPAs. But you need 1 year of work experience, and that's how you become licensed. And a CPA is a highly desired credential. You need it to work in public accounting, but it's also just a great thing to have on your resume. It really sets you apart. So that's definitely something as an accounting major that you might consider. And mind you, what I talked about with the 120 to sit and the 150 to become licensed, that's New Jersey. So even the requirements to 24 accounting, 24 in general business, that's specific to New Jersey. So just bear in mind, because we have a lot of students, for example, who might be interested in working in New York. So the requirements do vary by state. So what we talked about is New Jersey. It's not drastically different, but just to give you an example of New York, because we have a lot of students wind up pursuing employment in New York. So New York requires 33 accounting credits. It's not a big deal. It's a few extra accounting credits, but it's a big deal if you don't realize it till it's the last semester of your senior year. So it's just something you want to plan for. And so we talked, your accounting degree here at Rutgers would give you 30 accounting credits. So you need to take an accounting elective. For example, that tax class, the corporate tax class, that would be something to consider. So some states like New York are a bit more specific. They tell you, okay, it's 33 credits, or they might specify you have to have classes in certain areas. It's the same basic idea though in New York, 120 to sit. You can actually sit without a bachelor's, you just need 120 in New York, but you need 150 to become licensed. So the work experience requirements are very similar, but the education is just slightly different. So if you're planning to work, a lot of people it's New York, some people I've gotten questions on other states like Florida, California. So again, the overall idea is you just want to take a look at the state where you plan to work and become licensed, and those are the requirements that you'd want to pay attention to. But again, the CPA, again, just something to consider in those 150 hours. And from here, so I'll hand it over now. We have a couple of different student organizations. So first we have Beta Alpha Psi. So I have Barbie here to talk about that. So I'll let her talk about Beta Alpha Psi, and then I have James to talk about the Rutgers Accounting Association. So Barbie, do you want to tell them a little bit about Beta Alpha Psi and what's involved there?
Yes, definitely. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and just talk about accounting, how it has been such a great journey at RBS being an accounting major with the amazing accounting faculty and just overall RBS culture. I think it's really great to be there. Just to learn more about Beta Alpha Psi, we are a business honors society, and we recruit students who are majoring in accounting, finance, and paid majors. Paid is business analytics and information technology, if you're not used to hearing paid. And we we provide internship opportunities to students. We bring in professionals from mid-sized firms or small-sized firms to Big Four as well, and also some other corporate firms who offer for majors who are for finance majors. I'm very sorry for getting confused, but yes, we provide internship opportunities to all three majors, and we also give back to the community by participating in the VITA program. We prepare the tax returns for the low-income individuals of the New Brunswick community, and Beta Alpha Psi is the only organization at RBS who provides this service, and we also do other community service events as well.
Sorry, just finding my mute button. Thank you so much. And then, so that's Beta Alpha Psi. So that's one organization here at Rutgers. And then we have another. So James could tell us a little bit more about the Rutgers Accounting Association. He's an executive board member. So James, do you want to tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, so my name is James Hong. I'm currently a student at RBS, double majoring in both finance and accounting. And so Rutgers University Accounting Association, it's more specified. It's more going into the accounting, the different fields of accounting. We go into public, private, nonprofit, and we bring in people, we bring in professionals, recruiters from all these different sectors. So if you guys are not interested in particularly pursuing the conventional, maybe public accounting route, you guys can definitely look into maybe industry or maybe nonprofit. And yeah, so our events are usually bi-weekly, so it's every 2 weeks. And yeah, I mean, we have the big four that come in. We have Deloitte, we have PwC, we have KPMG and EY, as well as we're trying to get more mid-size and also smaller firms too as well. And we also look to maybe initiate or like implement some more of the community, just giving back to the community and just making ourselves more well known. We're kind of like a newly established club, so we hope to build our club and grow our club as the years go by. And yeah, we also have an opportunity for people who are just coming into RBS, maybe for next year, if you guys are maybe interested in maybe a leadership opportunity. There will be internship opportunities coming up, so please keep an eye out for that, and we'll be sending emails for next school year. But yeah, that's all I have for Rutgers University Accounting Association. I hope you guys join.
Thanks, James. So those are a couple of different organizations. And then lastly, I'll just talk a little bit about our Road to CPA program, and then we can, open it up for questions. So this is a new program here in New Brunswick, and the idea is just, we talk a lot about the classes, and you learn all the accounting theory and the accounting fundamentals, and I like to think we do a pretty good job of providing that information. But the profession itself and the CPA license and all the different requirements and career and what career path, we talk about it briefly tonight, but it's a lot to think about as you enter school and kind of navigate your way, and what courses do I like and what career path would be a good fit for me. So the idea with Road to CPA is just to kind of provide that guidance to accounting students throughout their college career. So not just your classes and, intermediate 1 and intermediate 2, but okay, now that I'm a senior and I'm kind of ready to take the exam or start thinking about it, what is the website that I go to register for this exam? Just little pieces of information like that. What's the difference between New York and New Jersey when it comes to the requirements? All different types of information. So we have a website, and then we try to provide different information, career information. So a lot of times in school, you hear a lot about public accounting, and this is, kind of where everybody goes right out of school. But what if I don't think I'm very interested in that? What else is out there? It's good to hear about the different career options. So we try to bring a lot of information about those things. So, what is corporate accounting? Just, we talk about it here tonight briefly. You get a little tidbit, a little summary of each type of profession. We've done different career panels where we'll talk about, and we'll have people come from different companies that have pursued a path in corporate accounting or internal audit. And you can hear from people that have actually worked in the industry and tell you a bit about their experience. We've done different sessions where you have professionals share, what do they look for in a new candidate when they're looking to hire accounting majors. So you need to know accounting, but what other skills? Do you need to know Excel? Do you need to know how to work on a team? Do you need to, be able to do this or that? What do they look for when they hire new people? So Road to CPA is it's designed to provide that basic guidance for accounting students, again, kind of the stuff outside the classroom, to make that process a bit easier. So career, CPA license, all that type of stuff. So that's something else to look for when you come in, is the Road to CPA. I have the website down here. We have, information, frequently asked questions, calendar of events, and, we're continuously building and updating the program. And from here, I have my contact information. I also have Christine's up here just because in terms of admissions and requirements and things like that, she's usually better to answer. But, I know, I can tell you a bit about accounting and career and classes and things like that. So, feel free to reach out to me if you think of questions even after the session. I'm always happy to answer and help with that type of stuff. Even if I don't always know the answer, but usually I at least kind of know where to direct you or where to look. So I do my best. So feel free to reach out with questions. I guess at this point, right, we can open it up just for general questions, discussion. I mean, feel free to ask anything. You can ask me questions. You could ask Barbie and James questions about the student experience and what it's like. But that's really what we're here for, is to answer questions. So, ask away if anybody has anything. Feel free to let us know. And again, you can unmute yourself or send them in the chat, however you feel most comfortable.
Yeah, I actually have a question. So
Sure.
I was accepted as a transfer student in accounting, and I'm actually getting inducted in Beta Alpha Psi at my current school, April 28th. Is there any way I could transfer that over, or?
Yes, definitely. We did have another student who was at the Rutgers School of Business at Camden, and he got inducted into Beta Alpha Psi and at that chapter. So we were able to transfer him as an inducted member to our chapter, Theta Mu. So we can also do the same for you.
Okay. I'm coming from TCNJ, so it'd be like the same process. Okay.
Yes, we can still do that.
Okay, so I just contact you guys in the fall then, or over the
Yes.
summer? Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I have a question, Professor. So for the Road to CPA, how soon can students join that? Is there a GPA requirement? Can you join as a first-year student?
You can. So the way we decided to run it in New Brunswick is that it wouldn't actually be a cohort or anything like that you would apply to. We did consider that option, but our goal with Road to CPA is really to help students improve and do better in terms of the CPA exam. So in designing the program, I really felt like it was better just to it's open to everyone, and all the events are open to everyone. I always feel like if you would benefit from the career event or the exam, CPA exam, difference between New York and New Jersey event, I want you to have access to it. So there's not a minimum requirement to get in, right? It's more of an informational campaign and just general guidance, but it's really open to all accounting majors and anyone who would benefit from the information. So I kind of like, it's like a buffet, I guess. Like you can, take the parts you need. You don't necessarily have to apply to get in it. We don't run it like that. It's more just to put all this different information and resources out there. And then it's available to anybody who really needs it.
Great. So guys, that's good to know. If you've sat in on a few of the different information sessions, Road to Wall Street, that's applications based. You need a certain GPA, you need an interview. So this is really more of a great informational type of organization, and probably never too early, because I know my first years, you come in with a laundry list of things that you want to do. So getting this information up front, whether you want to add on extra credits each semester, or if you want to go on for the extra year and earn a master's degree, you can start planning that out maybe by sophomore year. Maybe first, as a first year student, it might be a little too early, but the more information you have, I think the better informed decision you can make of what's going to be best for you. So that's good to know.
It is. And honestly, because I feel like in the past, like I said, the accounting department, we provide the classes and you learn the accounting theory and all of that's really important, but so much of just the information, I don't know who to ask about the CPA exam, where do I start? Just having that resource available and try to put as much information as possible out there, because it is good to think about it a little bit early, because the earlier you think about it and plan, if you need the 150 or however you're planning to do it, it's just good to know that in the back of your mind when you start, so you can start thinking about how you'll get the 150, what's, not that you have to have it all decided on the first day, but it's just good to be aware of it. And especially the career, some of these careers like the internal audit, I don't think you hear as much about it. So we've tried to do different sessions where you can find out about these careers. You hear so much about public accounting, which is a fantastic place to start. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying public isn't a great career, because it really is. A fantastic place to start, but it's not for everybody. So we don't want students to feel like, oh, if I'm not interested in public, what am I supposed to do? Or it's disappointing if I don't go into public, like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. There's so many great career paths out there. So just to make students aware that, hey, you could go into corporate accounting, you could go into governmental, you could do internal audit. There's all these different paths. So really it's really just to try to get as much information as possible out there.
Absolutely. We get a lot of questions on it when they first come in. So I think the more that they can access, the better.
On the CPA license?
Yeah. If anybody wants to raise their hand, unmute themselves. Do you have any questions for the professor, for the students? What's RBS like? What is RU like? Anything? They're here to answer those questions, guys.
So I have a question. I wanted to find out, can you do accounting a major and then also do like a dual with the BAIT program?
Yes, you did that, like a dual major?
Yes.
Yes, you definitely can. I think that's actually, it's probably a relatively popular combination to do those two majors together. I think that's a very relevant, because again, it's true. You see, the accounting profession, just like many professions, is changing with new technology and data and everything. So to put those two majors together, I think is a very good combination. So you would have to take and again, I don't know the specific requirements for BAIT, but basically you would have to meet the major requirements in both majors. And a lot of those business core classes, obviously would overlap. So they're going to satisfy both, but you can definitely pursue two majors like that. I would say that's a very good combination.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is the right question in this forum or not, but can we do a major in accounting and then minor in BAIT? Is that possible?
Christine, do you know about the minor?
Right, so you can either do a double major or you can do a BAIT concentration. It's like a mini minor. It's only 3 classes as opposed to 6, which would be a minor. But in order to do a double major in accounting and BAIT, it's very simple. If you recall a few slides back, the professor showed the 6 pre-business that every student has to take before they even declare a major. And then all of the business school students go into the business core requirements. Those classes are important because they show you what you like and what you don't like. So you'll have an introductory course to BAIT, MIS, and then you can decide, okay, is this something that maybe I want to do a double major in, or do I want to do just maybe 3 classes to do the concentration? So if you don't want to bite off a double major, because then you'd have to satisfy the 21 to 27 credits in accounting and the 21 to 27 credits specific to the BAIT major. If you're thinking you don't want to do all of that work, a concentration would be a good route to pursue.
Thank you.
Well, maybe Barbie and James, maybe you could tell us just a little bit about, and again, because you're at different points, right? So Barbie's a senior and James is a little earlier in the process, but how, for example, how do you find the workload? If Barbie, like, for example, with the 150, like, where are you in the credit process, or, how are you planning to achieve the 150? is the workload, is it manageable? How do you balance everything? You're very involved in Beta Alpha Psi. Same thing, James, you have Rutgers Accounting Association, all your classes. So how do you find the workload? How do you balance it? Maybe you could both just say a little bit about the student experience, because I talk a lot about the instructor experience, but it's good to hear from students too. It's like the other side, because people coming in, they're going to be in your shoes, not my shoes, right?
I think I'll go first, if Barbie doesn't mind. But because I'm a sophomore, I think I could cater more to the people who are in this call. I'm actually a transfer student, so I came in last semester, and through the 2 semesters that I've been here, I've been able to accomplish a lot. And I think a lot of it is, I think the club, the extracurricular aspect of it, it's good because it helps you network and know a lot more people. And it's really instrumental in helping you land internships and jobs. And I know that Barbie is involved with Beta Alpha Psi. That's a huge organization for the networking aspect of it, as well as Rutgers University Accounting Association, as we call in recruiters for the recruiting season. So that's a huge part of it. And then the workload itself, I think I try to stick to a rule of 2 accounting classes for a semester, because I kind of go crazy if I have more. So I have that, and then it's good to really have that kind of happy medium of maybe electives or maybe other major courses or the business core classes as well, because sometimes those classes could keep your grade up, so it's a huge thing. So I definitely would structure my classes by having 2 of the elective for my majors. For accounting or finance, have 2 classes for that, and then have maybe like a general education credit, or maybe an easier class of your interest. And I definitely recommend that, or maybe even a business core class to knock those out of the way. So I think that's how I would structure my semesters from year 1 to year 4, depending on what year you are. And definitely consider double major. I'm a double major myself. Finance and accounting, intermediate 1 accounting counts for double major. So please keep that in mind. I believe 1 class only counts too for a double count for double major. So please keep that in mind as well. And it's really good to just take some time to schedule on course schedule planner and go about your way, or maybe even plan all 4 of your years if you're already prepared for that. So yeah, and I'd like to turn it down to Barbie.
I cannot agree more with what James had said, that yes, joining the extracurricular activities, it's really important, and because it helps you network with professionals, because yes, you will do great in your classes and will know other people just in your school, but you also need to make connections with professionals, and you do that so that you can learn more about the accounting industry, about like if you want to join the audit practice or the tax practice, or if you want to work at the small size firm. So it's always good to network, so that not just you that get the internship opportunities, but also learn more about the industry and find what you will like to work at, what industry you will like to work in the future. And going with the course workload, I have also taken 2 accounting classes max in every semester, but I did the max credit benefit every semester by taking other classes, other business core classes, or if I also had to satisfy the SAS core requirements. So I took more workload on those classes, but I didn't take more than 2 accounting classes at RBS. And with the 150 credit requirement, I was considering the double major option, but I wasn't too sure about it, because I always thought that if I won't be working in that industry, I don't think if I will do that well in those classes or not. And I always enjoyed studying accounting so much that I was like, I think it would be better for me to just go for the master's program. So I'll be doing my 4th year at RBS and will get my master's degree in financial accounting program. It's a very flexible program as well.
Good to know. And that's such a good point about the extracurricular, because it's so important. So you want to plan your classes and you want to do well. But to be honest, when I was a student, way back 20 years ago, that's a mistake that I made. I was so focused on my classes and doing well in my classes and getting good grades, and I hang out with my friends, but I don't think I did enough extracurricular. And I do feel like I should have had, some different clubs, something like a bit more on my resume. I think that kind of hurt me in the interview process as well. So it's a really good point, just to find something to be involved in, a few things, from a networking perspective. It's something good to have on your resume, but it helps you meet people. So definitely, it's not just about the classes. Definitely consider the extracurricular. That's really important.
Yep, I agree.
Barbie, can you talk a little bit? I know you were in one of the case competitions, right? Was it
Yes.
the Deloitte case competition and you went to Texas or something? Could you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yes, definitely. So I forgot to add before that I'm also a transfer student just like James. I joined RBS in fall 2019 and it was my first semester. And I had decided to participate in the Deloitte audit case competition. And it was really interesting and so much fun. We went to the regional competition. It was held in Boston and we had so much fun. We were given a 1 month time frame on coming up with a new potential audit not audit like service that auditors can provide to their clients. So we came up with our new idea and we won the regional round and we were supposed to go to the Deloitte University in Texas in April 2020, but because of COVID, it got canceled. I was so upset about it. I still haven't gotten over that, but I think we could have won. We had the chances, but it's fine. But yes, it was so much fun. And it also helped me find out that, okay, I do like this industry. Like I want to pursue a career in auditing. And it helped me connect with the professionals from Deloitte and just learn more about the company culture. Because when you do the interviews and all that, you will get offers from so many firms that it will get difficult for like what firm to choose. So I think participating in the case competition also helped me learn more about the company culture. And then I participated in the another case competition of Deloitte. It was the tax case competition, and RBS got the honorable mention, and we got the second position in the regional round.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I have
Looks
another
like
question.
Matthew had his hand up for a second. Matthew, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Because I'm gonna be an external transfer student. I have a couple questions about like the way that classes transfer over and like prerequisite classes. Like at my current school, they don't offer supply chain management. So like I'm definitely gonna need to take, I know, a class like that. But all my classes right now are 4 credits. I only take 4 classes and all of them are 4 credits. Do you know if I'll get the 4 credit transfer or if they're gonna come over as 3?
They'll only come over as 3, Matthew. The only 4 credit class that we have would be the calculus. So they're going to transfer as 3 credit classes.
Okay. And for intermediate 1, is there a prereq for that too?
I think that would be the introduction to financial accounting. That's usually what you need before intermediate.
Okay, because I took financial already.
Right, yeah, just that
Okay.
basic introductory class.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks.
You're
So
welcome.
Matthew, when you transfer over from a 4-year school, so amongst your transfer of credit, you can only receive credit for 2 upper level electives, or actually 3. Financial accounting would be 1, but that's considered your pre-business. And then you can get 3 others. So depending on what you had that were 300 or 400 level, we are going to limit the amount of those transferable credits.
Okay, I'm only in 1 300 level course right now.
Okay.
I'm in the accounting information systems right now.
Okay.
I think someone in the chat box asked earlier
Yep.
about the requirements for the master's degree. If you are a Rutgers student, then the requirements are very flexible. I think you only need to meet the GPA requirement because the letter of recommendation requirement is waived, and also the GRE and GMAT. You don't have to give those exams if you are an undergrad RBS student.
That's really good to know.
Just one quick correction on that. It's an undergraduate RBS student with, I believe it's a 3.0 GPA.
Varun, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm from a 2-year school, and I'll be transferring into RBS for the fall semester. So, at my school, my 2 accounting courses that I took, which were financial and managerial, there were 4 credits each, so how would that transfer over? Would it be 3?
Christine, you're muted right now.
Just,
I'm sorry, you're coming from Mercer County, right, Varun? Varun, can you hear me? Oop. Did I freeze? No?
We can hear you, Christine.
Okay, Varun, can you
yeah, I
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yeah,
Okay, I think we've talked before. You're coming from Mercer County College, right?
yeah,
Right, so those classes are gonna come over as 3 credits. Mercer
Okay.
County College students receive credit for the financial accounting and for the managerial accounting, so you'll get credit for both.
understood. But then how would I make sure I get the 60 credits? Because I know like Mercer County has a guaranteed transfer agreement with you guys.
Right, as we've spoke about before, the New
Yeah.
Jersey statewide transfer agreement states that a student who receives their associate's degree and
Mhm,
is compliant with the courses on our
Mhm.
general education checklist will
Mhm.
receive 60 credits, no more, no less.
Okay,
Okay?
Yep.
Very good.
and then my last question I had is for like the required courses for like accounting. Would they, I'm guessing they're gonna be like prerequisite courses for the courses that we have to take. But would that get added on to like more credits that you have to take?
So when you come in from the community college, you earn your 60 credits.
No,
You need
I'm asking
120
about
for
the
the
required,
bachelor's.
I'm asking about the required courses for accounting.
So like this course list here, the required
Yeah,
accounting
I'm asking
classes.
about that, yeah. Are there gonna be like prereq courses that I'll be made to take?
Well, a lot of the accounting classes on this intermediate accounting one, again, the prerequisite is introduction to financial accounting, which I think Christine just said would transfer over. Similarly, cost accounting, the requirement is introduction to managerial accounting, which I believe
Oh,
Christine
okay,
also
yeah,
said would also
understood,
carry over.
understood. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's-
Yeah, and then from there, you know, intermediate 1 before intermediate
Is-
2,
Mhm.
intermediate 2 before advanced. So
Makes-
most of these classes, I think the prereq is another accounting class.
Yes, and then actually, all of the other ones, let me make sure, all the others, the basis would be intermediate 1 with the exception of
Right.
audit analytics, which is concepts of auditing.
Understood, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, intermediate 1 is kind of the gateway accounting class of the,
Okay, thank
of the,
you.
of the core.
Thank you.
Anyone else, guys? We probably have time for maybe one more question.
Sure, I have one.
Sure.
Okay, so this is like a very general question, but like are Rutgers students like known on Wall Street? Like I'm asking about like hiring and like how's Rutgers like how is Rutgers like known to be on Wall Street or anything like big like in New York?
I could kind of answer that question because I'm a finance major, but for Wall Street, there's like a Road to Wall Street program that works heavily with maybe Wall Street banks, if we're talking about that, and that's more of like I believe it's for freshmen. I don't know the exact requirements for that program, but that program does mentor you and does help you with it. There's other finance clubs such as LIBOR, Little Investment Bankers of Rutgers. There's also the Student Management Managed Fund, which is I think the investment club. So you can check out those 2 clubs, and I believe they have more of the connections or the networking I think you're talking about with the Wall Street aspect of it. So I would definitely once you become a Rutgers student, I would definitely go into get involved, look at all the clubs, and go to I think the club fairs that are at the beginning of the semesters, and check out LIBOR. I would check out the Student Managed Fund and all the, I think, finance. I think there's like a quantitative finance club as well. So I would recommend just reaching out to those clubs because they have more of like the upper hand or more of the connections to Wall Street.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Yeah, and to backpack a little bit off of James, again, Road to Wall Street, yes, it's an application-based, whereas we discussed Road to CPA is more of a informational base. Road to Wall Street is based on application. You will apply in the spring semester of your freshman year. That is the only time they take applications, is during the second semester, your second semester at RBS as a freshman. Also, yes, we do have a lot of organizations, the Student Managed Fund, LIBOR, the Quantitative Finance Club. Again, Beta Alpha Psi is actually open to both, I believe it's both accounting and finance majors, but able to be inducted into Beta Alpha Psi. And again, a link I posted earlier has a list of all the New Brunswick student organizations. The business school specifically, actually, we have over 25 business school clubs. So if you're interested in clubs from other majors, we offer that here at RBS as well.
And David, what I would recommend is on Wednesday evening at 6:30, Professor Richter is leading the finance session. So he'll talk more about Road to Wall Street. He usually has a few current students on as well that might have been part of Road to Wall Street. So I know in that program, a lot of those students take additional classes in conjunction with the RBS curriculum, and a lot are also mentored by someone on Wall Street. So if you want to find out more about our presence in New York City, that would definitely be a session I would sit in on. And again, that can be found on our website, but that's going to be Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. We probably have time for one more and then we'll wrap up. Anybody else have a question to ask?
I just thought of one more thing. So in the fall, I took cost accounting at my school now, but they don't require accounting majors to take managerial. Would I still get the credit then for cost? I never took managerial like ever, so.
So what you
Well, I
probably
wonder-
have to do is send the syllabus to the accounting department to review. It's not a matter of what you took previously. It's a matter of if the course content is there. So you'd have to send your syllabus to the accounting department for the chair to review to see if the course has at least an 80% course content match. Because we
Okay.
want to make sure that
Sometimes-
you're learning what a Rutgers student would learn.
Sometimes managerial is called cost and vice versa. So you'd have to look, like, I wonder if the cost class was actually managerial. I don't know, but you'd have to look at the content of the class itself to see.
Okay. And where do I send my transcript to? Because I already enrolled to get my transfer credit evaluation.
So did you attend the meeting on Saturday?
No, Saturday I was actually sick. I got the shot on Friday, so I wasn't really feeling good.
Okay, so are you in school this semester? Are you taking classes right now in the spring?
Yeah, I am.
So at the end of the spring semester, what you'll do is you will send your transcript electronically to Tom Moore. If you go on your dashboard, we put the directions there, so you'll have his email address. So you'll send the transcripts electronically at the end of the spring, once you have your grades, to us, and that's actually going to generate how you get your registration date for the summer.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. Thank you.
Sure. All right, guys, so we are nearing the end of the hour. So we will close out here. I'll let the professor and students give any final closing remarks.
I guess I'll just say, well, thank you for coming in. I'll put my email up one last time. Again, if you think of any questions that you think I can help with after the session, I'm always happy to answer. So don't hesitate to use the email address, my email address. So again, like I said, accounting is a great major. I was excited to come here today and talk to you about it. So thank you very much for your time. And then again, I don't know, Barbie and James, if you have any last parting words or advice for the students from a student perspective, do you guys have anything to add?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, James. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Barbie. Okay. I just want to say that it's a great experience to be with such great faculty, great resources, and you guys are just starting your careers or starting your 2 years in the accounting program, and I just wish you guys the best. I hope you guys learn a lot along the way, and definitely reach out to the faculty for the Accounting Association or the Accounting Department, and also the e-board for the Accounting Association, as well as the e-board for Beta Alpha Psi. We're just here to help you guys and learn along the way, like you guys.
Thanks.
Yes, I would say the same. Best wishes to all of you, and I would echo on what James said. The accounting faculty has been amazing. They consider students' opinions a lot. If you have any idea or anything, you just reach out to them, and they do think about it. So, and they have been just so helpful in terms of deciding a career or a practice that you want to choose, or working at one of the firms, because many of our professors, they have worked in the industry, so they know and they share their experiences with us. So it has been a great journey at RBS.
That's great. And again, guys, this session is recorded. It will be posted to the RBS website by tomorrow. So you can go back, you can see Professor O'Rourke's presentation and review any information. If you have questions, please reach out. We really don't want you guys to think just because we're virtual that you cannot get in contact with us. You can. We know that this is a stressful time. It's an anxious time, but it's a great time. You guys are going to be back on campus in the fall for a wonderful experience. So we look forward to seeing all of our brand new Scarlet Knights. So we wish you the best of luck as you continue to make these decisions. And I will see you at sessions tomorrow night and Wednesday night. But thank you all for coming. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.